everyone. First of all, I'm going to give you a language warning. I'm very sorry for my very thick Northern Irish accent. And I hope you've all been watching Derry Girls, or I might need some subtitles. But my name's Adrian, and I'm filling in for someone else today. I've got some very big shoes to fill. So Peter Heath from Venue Performance was unable to make it, so I've been helicoptered in. But I've got three amazing panellists who are going to make me look very good, and I've got the easy job today. So I wonder, can I just ask you each just to very quickly introduce yourself, because we've got some lovely stuff to talk about.
Yes, so my name is Sabine Reise. I'm heading the all-seated European subsidiary and the European market for all-seated. And all-seated is probably something that many of you already know. It's been in the market for quite some time, since 2011. And it's a floor planning diagramming tool. But we've evolved throughout the time, very much. So 5 years ago, we've introduced a gamer technology to provide digital twins in the market and really experience spaces, venues, hotels, and collaborate in those. And now, throughout the pandemic, we have added even more value, because you can now meet inside the space. So what we've just heard is actually something that we can already do. So you can do in the virtual, you can meet in the virtual space, you can meet the prospect inside, you can generate leads in it, and connect and collaborate together.
We're going to find out a little bit more. I'm very excited to hear a little bit more, because I'm very, very old and don't really understand the metaverse.
I'll help you.
And Jane.
Hi, I'm Jane Griffiths. I'm Global Sales Director for Claremont Hotel Group, formerly GLH, as some of you may know. So we essentially represent three brands: Claremont Hotels, Hard Rock, and Thistle Properties. We are 17 hotels, all based in London, so my hometown. And I'll apologise for my London accent. And really pleased to be here.
David.
So I'm David Parker. I apologise for my New Zealand accent.
Oh my God, I'm German. What am I supposed to say?
We all need subtitles.
So I'm the Commercial and Events Manager Director for the Royal College of Physicians. I am not a doctor. I look after around about £8.5 million worth of event sales and the commercial work we do both in London and in our venue in Liverpool.
Perfect. Well, we've got a lot to cover, and the seminar, or the subject before, really leads us into this. So, Sabine, are we ready for this? Are we ready for the metaverse in events?
So we are more than ready for this. So there are possibilities to enter spaces, to collaborate, to engage with avatars, like we already heard. It is actually so interesting for the hospitality industry to have a possibility to extend the revenue, or extend your business into the digital world. And also I think it's great for stability as well, right? Because suddenly you're in the position to not only sell your space, but also, switch over and say, the people that cannot come, I'm 100% sure I will give them the space in the digital twin of my hotel, or even spaces that are not available that you can suddenly sell. Or, and this is the most interesting thing for the event industry, I think, is the creation of a hype around the live event, because we all want to keep the live events. And this is really what I'm also want to bring across here, is that we're not, taking the business from the live events, the live industry. But we are adding value to this, and actually having, the live event always as the centerpiece of everything taking place, but then creating a possibility to build up a community all year long, and then also as a hotel or as a venue participate on that and generate revenue from that.
Did you want to let us have a look at a real example?
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone knows already, but this event is being, like Jane already said in the introduction, but it's being streamed also into our platform. It's called Metaverse. So if you want to take a look later on, you can also come to our booth and we'll show you around. But I brought it with me just quickly, maybe just show you around a little bit. Hang on. give me a minute. Maybe you can someone else.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, we've had the earlier session and this session talking about meta, but it's not all about meta. And David, you have two more traditional properties. Can you tell us, first of all, a little bit about them, and also tell us what's similar in your venues and what's different, what you've done differently in each?
So we have two venues. We have the one in London, which is 60 years old. It was built by the King of Concrete, Dennis Lasdon, or designed by him. It was perfect when it was launched for holding events in. Wonderful. Things have moved on over the last 50, 60 years. So we are now adapting it to meet the new requirements. We finished building a year ago our new venue, Spaces at the Spine in Liverpool, a 12-storey venue of which we have 6 floors of, and we lease out the other 6. That was designed from the ground up. First thought was, how do we provide the AV resources, how do we provide the IT resources, and how do we future-proof it for the next 25, 30 years? 2 totally different venues, 2 totally different responses to the needs of the guests going into them. And I guess the extension to all of that is everything we do now is also enabled to be seen virtually or hybrid. It has to be. We primarily look after physicians and doctors. We look after 50,000. All the doctors you see in the NHS hospitals are our members and fellows. We look after their training needs and their accreditation needs. They cannot often attend events. They cannot afford to. So we do it online for them. We do it hybrid for them. And we've had a lot of experience in how to make that work for them. Doctors are the most complex people in the world. Really, really smart people. Brilliant if you go to see them about your problems. Absolute dunces when it comes to technology. Please don't broadcast that. So we have to make the metaverse and the virtual environment and as easy as possible for them. And I think that's been the hardest thing to do. And that's probably what I'd say in your hotels and in your places that you need to do. Make it easy.
Just when you're talking about hotels, obviously you're not a hotel, but I understand that you've got a great relationship with the hotel next door. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we always have. So in London, we have, I will name hotels, but these are just because they're close to us. There are other hotel brands. So in London, we have the Amelia White House right next door to us. We have a long-established relationship with them where they have some meeting space. Their meeting space is very nice. We have a lot more meeting space, a lot more conference space, and we do meetings and conferences. So we joint sell with the Amelia White House just next door to us. We'll go to ICA events and we'll go to other places and we'll work together with them. It was even better in Liverpool. So in Liverpool, we were the first persons on site in Paddington Village, and they said there will be a hotel built next to us. What type of hotel do you want? And so we ended up speaking to Legacy Hotels. It ended up being a Novotel. Novotel was designed from the ground up with very limited meeting space because, as was said by Howard, the GM there, we don't make money out of meeting space, we make money out of our rooms. And that's what we're really good at doing. So why don't you do our meetings and conferences and just bring them over to us for the rooms? So we're connected with a little tunnel that goes between the two. We do the meetings and events, they do the rooms. Fabulous symbiotic relationship. We also support their AV in their spaces as well. So my team go over and help them with their AV. Saves them a lot of money. I think they do a few backhanders. It's, sort the AV out, we'll give you a beer. So it works.
Dan, I'd like to bring you in now. Obviously, you work with a beautiful hotel group. You've adopted tech. I guess for me, coming from a consultancy background before moving into software, the consultancy side of me was always trying to make it really easy for people to book. Are we getting that right in the meeting and event space?
Not yet. We've got a bit of a way to go. And I think that we've just embarked on a project in our meetings and events. I mean, we've got 5,000 bedrooms, got 120 meeting spaces around London. And so we thought, right, how do we start to weave all these tech solutions into what we do and to make it more efficient? There's been a lot of talk about efficiencies today and staffing issues and all of that, and it plays well into that. And so we've broken it down into the people, efficiencies, pricing, and sustainability, which is always going to be, definitely important going forward. And what we've tried to do is think, right, in each of those areas, how can we make it much more simple for not only us as hotels, because we can't get enough people, but also for the booker to be able to streamline all these processes. And an example was, I mean, obviously the session before, Sabine mentioned that, you know, that is a perfect example of what we have to adopt in terms of being able to represent our hotels. We've got 17 hotels, they all look different. They all look different, different types of meeting rooms, a different experience, some, you know, some historic buildings, some more modern, and, you know, how do you get that across? And it's all very labour intensive. So bringing some of these tools in and, you know, to help us do that, to showcase what we do, I might not need, you know, as many people as we're trying to recruit for. That's just one example. The other example of what we're doing at the moment, and we've already trialled this in our reservations department, is we are looking at ways to try and automate some of the real sort of, and I'll steal someone said automate the mundane this morning, and it really resonated with me because that's what we've got to try and do. Because of course you've got, you know, if it's an agent, they need an answer really, really quickly. And if we're full, and if we can't do something, or we don't have the capacity, or we're not the right venue, we need to try and automate those responses back so we're getting a quick, easy answer back into you know, the booker, the agent, whoever that might be. So I think, you know, we've got to use technology. It's got to get into this space. Someone talked about it's 30% of a hotel's business. It's not the most profitable area, so it's often one that gets neglected or put to one side and think, yeah, we'll do that later. But, you know, we've got to bring that to the fore. And the other thing for us is pricing. You know, loads of revenue managers in the room. We have to bring scientific revenue management into this space in real terms.
You said my two favourite words, revenue management. David, you and I had a chat at the break earlier because revenue management inside, you know, the room side is something I know inside out. But what always surprises me when I go on property is that lots of hotels on the meetings and events side aren't measuring it in the same way as on the room side. And one of the big things for me is most hotels don't understand that unconstrained demand of meeting space. And if you don't understand that, for me, it's very difficult to understand pricing. Have you any thoughts on that?
To all the revenue managers here and people involved in finance, which should be everybody, to my two friends from over in Florence in the corner over there, it's all about the money. I'm the commercial director of a charity. I have to make money. So we are very careful with what we do. There's quite a few issues here, and maybe I can just step through it right from the beginning. Going back 2019 and beyond, or before, resources both on our side and on the client side were quite well resourced. There was a knowledge base there, there was a skill set there was an understanding of what type of events you wanted to have. There was very little virtual, almost no hybrid. It was no problem. Moving forward through the pandemic, everything went virtual, a little bit of hybrid involved. We had to understand what the cost of that was, what the time frames of that were, and then everybody left the industry on both sides. We're slowly regrouping now, but what we're finding is a lot of work is last minute calls coming in. They want responses very, very quickly. They have to be commercial responses to make the decisions. And the final thing is, always remember, it's not just our side which has the problem, it's their side that doesn't have the knowledge either, or the people. So you've got to help them, step them through so they understand what they're asking for is possible or is not possible, or what we can do to make their event wonderful. We will sell the event for you and we'll give you the rooms. And that's what a lot of your associated audiovisual companies and a lot of your production companies who work for the hotel should be doing for you. Put the emphasis on them. Put the risk on them for the cost, because costs change so dramatically, so quickly, within weeks, within months. You know, I can talk about transport costs, I can talk about stage set costs, I can talk about people cost. What I quoted to you 2 months ago has gone up 25% 2 months later. Put the risk on somebody else and maybe just take a commission off them.
Just very, very quickly, because I know that my lovely friend is telling me to wrap it up. We've talked about that buying process changing. We've talked a lot this morning about less people in the industry doing more jobs. Sabina, can I just ask maybe to finish with you? If we've talked about the buying process changing and us needing to keep up with that with tech, do you think the delivery of these events will change? Are we going to enable our own teams through exciting new technology?
Yeah, sales and marketing, both sides, and that's gonna change a lot in that perspective. And we have all experienced these, you know, all kinds of virtual events, what they've been called, like Teams has been an event or whatever. So now seeing that there are new possibilities how to engage, how to meet inside the space, that really gives a new possibility for sales to thrive, to have new pricing models, new possibilities. And I want to add that really, what's really important, I think, for the industry is to open up to these kind of topics, right? So that you need to work on a digital strategy. You need to be having a task force within your team, because it's not just that it's happening, but it's really there already, because the corporates are cutting down, you know, on travel costs, and then they're not sending everyone for virtual site inspections, like we already heard. So there's a great opportunity to save and to be more efficient on that side. And also on the sustainability side, I think that's really something where we can, you know, make a lot of effort or benefit from these new technologies. And then the last thing that I really want to mention is the Generation Z that is coming into this market and that is expecting to have different ways of experiencing venues, hotels, and they're used to that kind of way. And it doesn't need to be with VR goggles, because I really think that right now it's a way lower threshold. It needs to be accessible through any kind of device, but it's still something that each and every venue needs to be prepared for.
So the future, I think it's my favourite David Bowie quote, the future belongs to those who hear it coming.
Yeah.
We need to sit up and listen. Guys, I had a really easy job today. These guys made me look very good, so thank you very much. Standing in at the last minute, thank you so much. And thanks to everybody.
Thank you. So maybe I might just open it up. Maybe can you just quickly, because we didn't have the adapter right now. So it's, you know, it's what you can do in the space is really just, you know, you walk around, you experience the space immediately, and you meet the prospects with these little robots inside. You can, you know, tap. I'm not going to tap on these people because they are actual visitors and attendees in the space. But this is the way that it works, and this is how you experience, and it makes a huge difference in selling and engaging. Thank you, guys.